You seem to be quite unlikely pop stars. I mean, even on stage, even now, you're dressed fairly down. Is it a deliberate move to be out of trend in your fashion?
I wouldn't say we're dressed down. I mean, a lot of money goes into those clothes.
Have you seen his trainers?
I mean, they're not exactly down, are they?
Unlikely pop stars, perhaps. But since meeting in the hi-fi store in 1981, Neil Tennant and Chris Lowe have made a habit of turning the unlikely into the unforgettable. Across the last 4 decades, the Pet Shop Boys have become one of the best-selling, most enduring artists the world has ever seen. Taking their music across the globe, packing out stadiums, and dazzling Glastonbury twice. With 3 outstanding contributions to music awards and a godlike genius to their name already, they are music titans. But music titans full of paradoxes. Of pop culture, yet outside pop culture, commercial giants, yet eternally contrary, artistic innovators, but consistent hitmakers. They have led a quiet rebellion against convention for over 40 years, doing it their way, the Pet Shop Boys way. And today they're here to tell me all about it. This is Real Stories.
Well, chaps, thank you very much for doing this.
Well, this is lovely and comfortable.
I'm slightly worried that you're going to fall asleep. You've got 2 cushions and some sunglasses.
That's really likely to happen.
Chris, no!
Well, you shouldn't have chosen such a plush venue, should you?
So you have to include him in the conversation.
So that's my job as well. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise...
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple of them. Are you given to contemplation and introspection and looking back, or...?
Only when required, really. If you've got a greatest hits or something, you know, people are asking you. But I'm always amazed, you know, how things bring memories back.
Yeah.
Also, I tend to remember things in my life by what records and things we had out.
I guess that is the signpost, isn't it? Yeah, I was doing that at that time.
I was talking about one of my nieces, and I said, oh, yeah, I remember the christening, because it was right after the 1989 tour. So I tend to remember things like that.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? You a looker backer?
Not really, no. But I don't look forward either. I just like to live in the present.
Right. Well, you're sat down.
I like
lovely
to
cup of
think,
tea.
well, actually, I just like to think, what's for dinner? That's it, really. That's as far ahead as I look.
Well, we're going back to start with, chaps. We're going back to, well, February 72. Take a look.
Oh.
Surely this is David Bowie.
Well, I remember this. It was 1972.
Up on the 11th floor and I'm watching the cruisers below.
My brother and I had stayed up to watch the Old Grey Whistle Test, as we always did. This performance came on, and we were absolutely mesmerised. And after that, that's all that mattered.
She's an old-time ambassador, a sweet-talking, night-walking gay.
We went to see him at the New Custody Hall doing this tour with Mick Ronson. We all hung around afterwards, and I've got his autograph. I've still got it, actually. And that was, I can't tell you how exciting that was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Ziggy Stardust show now, it's actually a standard rock show. But at the time, no one was doing that. That was a big influence.
And at the time, were you writing your own music?
Yes. I hated school. On the first day, I was immediately called Poshy. I talked pretty much like I do now.
It's funny because your brothers don't talk.
No, my brothers both got Geordie accents. So it made me aloof, what it did. It made me aloof.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm just going to have to get through this. But all the time, I would go home and write songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought...
I'm going to become a pop star.
I'm going to be a pop star.
You know, it's like watching you, Neil. You've learnt a lot from this man.
I don't think so. I moved to London properly 1973, and I used to go and have auditions at music publishing companies. You used to get adverts in Melody Maker saying songwriters wanted. And I would go to these music companies and just sit on their piano and play these sort of singer-songwritery kind of songs.
Your own stuff?
Yeah. And they were all sort of actually quite interested.
Yeah.
But they said, no, I think you're too young, you need to develop. Actually, they were completely right. And then...
What do you think would have happened if you had got signed?
It would have been, I think, I'd have put out one album, would have done nothing, and that would have been that, really.
What about you, Chris? You grew up in Blackpool. And your mother was a dancer and your granddad was a musician?
Yep, that's correct.
And then, so when did you get the bug?
At school, we were in a school band, and, I had piano lessons and trombone lessons, and I enjoyed doing all of that. But I didn't really used to enjoy learning the music. I just used to like sitting at the piano, just playing whatever came into my head. Actually, what I really enjoyed was seeing people having a good time. We used to play in various working men's clubs and things like that, and school dances.
And that's what gave you the bug, is the experience of seeing people enjoy the music.
I really enjoyed seeing people having a good time to what you were doing. I enjoyed that a lot.
But when you moved down to London, it was to study architecture, was it?
Well, it was, you had to work for a year as part of the course, and that's when I met Neil.
And then the day of the synthesizer happened.
Everything happened at the right time, and it coincided with this sort of start of, the electronic music of the Human League and Soft Cell, Kraftwerk suddenly have a hit, I was just jumping on bandwagons, and so I bought a synthesizer and I got it home. It hadn't entered my head how you got a sound out of it. I assumed it had speakers in it. But it didn't, so I had a synthesizer that I couldn't hear. So I went to the shop on the King's Road and said, could you make a lead to go from a jack plug into whatever it's called, the back of the... And during this period, Chris came in.
And then do you remember your first conversation?
We got talking about the synthesizer, and Chris liked electronic music. He lived around the corner. And so really the first thing we did, apart from have a drink in the pub, was write a song. We would go out 5 nights a week.
So what was that London club scene like?
Well, remember, there was a whole range of clubs. Heaven, in those days, a super club, really.
Yeah.
It was meant to be the biggest club in Europe or something.
Some great music then, it wasn't generally, it was mainly Euro music, and but it was played in underground and gay clubs, and but not many people really knew about it, so you felt you'd really hit on something that no one knew about. It was one of those moments where you thought, everything I've heard before this is redundant now. This is all I like.
Yeah.
In those days, to go to gay clubs was to feel you had the secret of pop music.
What an exciting time.
It was, in some ways, the most exciting time of my life, really, what Chris and I were doing.
Yeah.
Just being in music, in London. It was an extraordinary experience.
Yes.
But having said that, when your songwriting, making demos thing is a sort of, hobby that you might take seriously, it's still a hobby you're taking seriously because you've still got a day job. I worked for Marvel Comics as the London editor for Marvel Comics, and then I worked for book publishers, and then I worked for Smash Hits.
This is Smash Hits magazine, one of the biggest success stories in the print world. It's pop, pure and simple pop, yet it has more readers than many daily newspapers, and I went out to find just why it is so successful.
Oh, this is the office! Oh, my God! There I am, on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
In just 3 years, the circulation has overtaken all competition to become Britain's #1 pop magazine.
Yeah, and then it's all done.
Was this staged for this programme?
Yes. Yes, it was. I remember doing it.
Did you ever actually have meetings like this?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you did?
Sure, we did. There I am. Look at the guy, I haven't seen this since it was on.
Editor Hepworth strives hard to give good value for 40 pence.
40p.
Yeah.
Presses run for almost 2 days continuously to turn 400 miles of paper into a teenager's fantasy.
At the end of the day, this is pop music, and it probably doesn't matter very much, but yet it is there to entertain you, and it is a very important thing.
What a lovely and incredible, gateway Smash Hits must have given you to see so much music, and so much music at such an exciting time and such a diverse time.
Pop was moving from the black and white world of punk into the colour world of Culture Club, Duran Duran, Ballet, and all sorts of other people as well. And that was, I can't tell you how exciting that was.
Yeah.
We had a box near my desk called the Dumper Box, where people used to throw records. There was records used to come in all day long, And I used to stay after work and play through the records. And Chris had introduced me to this New York producer, Bobby Orlando, this, slightly punky electronic dance music. And then I saw in the Dumper Box, Bobby Orlando brought out millions of records. There were quite a lot of records, and I was sent by Smash Hits on a very short trip to New York for literally 36 hours. I said to Chris, I'm going to phone up Bobby O. And he said, come over, hey, we'll have a cheeseburger. And we went to have a cheeseburger, and he said, I told him about what we were doing, and he said, well, let's make a record.
I had enough of scheming and messing around with jerks. My car is parked outside, I'm afraid of...
And anyway, amazingly, we were back only 3 or 4 weeks later, and in the studio in Times Square. And the first thing we recorded them was, let's make lots of money.
I've got the brains, you've got the looks. Let's make lots of money.
And New York was very exciting those days.
I bet, yeah.
You were scared out your wits the whole time. Every time you left, the plane took off, you thought, oh, we've survived again. And Bobby always made it worse, because he would say, he'd walk through Times Square saying, oh, yeah, they killed a French tourist here yesterday. These guys are called pinheads. And you're always scared, but it was sort of at the same time, it had, an excitement in there.
Terrifying. So you get back from New York. What happens next?
Things had started to take off in the middle of my course, and so when I went back, my heart wasn't really in it, because we'd been jetting off to New York to record in Times Square, and all of a sudden that seemed a lot more exciting. I still managed to pass.
We'd got a manager, Tom Watkins, and he was shopping us all around London. Actually, the reality is, although he's been presented like that, no one was interested, apart from EMI. And we got the deal with EMI. And whoever it was at EMI got us on the telly.
Right, you can sit back and relax for just a moment.
Oh, Gary Corrally.
Our live guests. They're a new band.
Oh, dear God.
Here they are with a new single, Opportunity.
Yeah.
Clever. See what they've done there?
Let's make lots of money.
I like the hair, though.
Very strong. I don't remember this at all. It's painful to watch this.
That's ITV's Pop Around, July 1985. Your first ever UK TV performance.
I love the fact that both of you put your head in your hands when it came on.
Yeah. But at the time, to be honest, we thought that was a bit embarrassing. But we obviously felt we had to do it.
Oh, there's a lot of opportunities if you know when to...
I think it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
But actually, the weird thing is, in those days, no one ever tells you what to do. I think they do now. People are choreographed and stuff. In those days, you would go like that, and you'd never been on the telly before, really, and you sort of think, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then they just say, OK, and let's take it. And you just got to make it up as you go along. The record was a huge flop.
The record got to what, 116, which is nuts when you look back at it.
It was sort of scary, wasn't it?
Mm.
It's time for pop now. The Pet Shop Boys join us now. Neil, you were assistant editor on Smash Hits right up until, what, only March or something like that?
End of March I left Smash Hits. That was really when we started doing it full time.
It's very nervy, though, isn't it, launching yourself off like this into the sharp end of the business? Have you gone through a period when you've been really kind of a bit twitchy about what was going to happen next, Chris?
No, if it doesn't happen, I'll just return back to a career in architecture.
You'd have been an architect.
No, I wouldn't. I'd have been terrible.
Talking about you'd have built the Shard.
No.
He doesn't like the Shard.
No. Of course he doesn't.
What will you do if it doesn't work?
I think it's me that tends to wake up in the middle of the night thinking, what am I doing?
I mean, on paper, it was pathetic, really, to leave the age of 30 when you could be editor of Smash Hits, the most successful music magazine in the world at this point. I was determined that we should try and have a go at it, though. Because I was getting older and I thought, this is it, this is the last chance for me. But then, to be fair, we were on the cover less than a year later.
That means we have a brand new number one in pop music, and it's a new number one from a new band.
They are the Pet Shop Boys, and this is West End Girls. Here they are.
I heard a story there as the camera was going over. Chris, did you whisper, "Don't look triumphant"?
I did, yeah.
After this, we were a one-hit wonder. Because, I mean, how do you follow that record?
Because of what happened straight afterwards, or you just thought, this is so good that where do we go from here?
It's a sort of record that's so unusual, you sort of think it's just a a sort of a fluke. And then the next record, we got number 19.
Yeah.
We would say amongst ourselves, oh, Dumper Bound, number 19. And because it sort of felt like that.
Yeah. Chris, are you confident at the time?
I would never have thought like that. I never think.
If he's kind of quite Buddhist and Zen about the whole thing, that must have been a wonderful yin to your yang.
Well, there's the energy there for the whole thing to keep going.
Yeah.
So, what happened next?
Well, then we have a phase where It's a Sin comes out as number 1, Always on My Mind is number 1, and then Heart, the next thing was number 1. We've suddenly had 3 number 1s in 1 year.
And the winner of the Best British Group,
Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys.
Thanks for this award.
Thank you, everyone.
And we're kind of actually amazed, but also it's all a blur because we are always either in the studio or flying to somewhere.
Sometimes it's quite nice, you know, travelling on a plane. Sometimes travel first class even.
So we spend all of our life in 1987 doing promotion, going on Spanish TV, Dutch TV, German TV, Japanese TV.
Yeah.
And we're famous for being the band that never tours.
Voted Britain's best group in 1986, the Pet Shop Boys are renowned for never having done a concert tour. One might well ask why.
The reason we don't tour is because actually we plan a tour, but we see the budget, it's not possible.
Is that why it took so long to tour?
It was the budget. The budget was, we were going to lose our first tour £500,000. We didn't have £500,000 to lose.
Are you under a lot of pressure to tour?
No. But remember, we haven't come out of we didn't come through the clubs.
No.
We haven't really done any gigs, but...
It's insane that, really, isn't it? It's such a unique
it didn't
career trajectory.
It just wasn't what we came from.
Yeah.
But it's quite good, because I think the strength of that is we put a lot of time and effort into writing songs and making records, and the records all work really well.
Yeah. And what defines success for you at that time in your career? Is
pushing the sound. Mm-hmm. I knew we had lots of good songs, but, you know, we always said we were trying to make records about subjects that weren't in pop music.
Yeah. But what I love about you is you got the theatrics of the music with this incredible kind of Larkian lyrics. You're kind of telling these incredible stories beautifully.
With dramatic music.
Exactly.
That was always kind of one of the big ideas, yeah. And it's nerve-wracking, it's exciting, it's, you know, it's not boring.
Yeah.
We break for some music now. Let's hear our first song for ages. Sometimes Like Butterflies, Dusty Springfield.
Well, I told you not to fall in love. I ain't the kind you can tie down.
I don't think I've seen this.
Now don't try to pretend that you didn't know. If you wanna love me.
This is Dusty Springfield and Wogan in August 1985.
Completely unique voice.
Unbelievable.
The voice is beautiful. This was on Peter Stringfellow's label.
Well, this is it. So I wanted to play this clip, largely to kind of set up the collaboration with Dusty, because at the time, like you said, she was signed to Peter Stringfellow's label. This didn't sharp. She was living in a hotel motel in LA where I think she was paying by the day.
Yeah.
And she hadn't had a hit in 18 years, and just a month after this performance, she checked into rehab with depression. She was at a real low point in her life.
She's so sad.
But she still has this incredible voice. So when you wanted to collaborate, did you know you wanted to collaborate with her, or did you just need a great female vocalist?
We always loved Dusty Springfield, who you used to see sitting in your pyjamas on the sofa when you were 9 years old. And we'd written a song called Why I Don't Deserve This. And someone said, well, you're always talking about Dusty Springfield. We said, oh, God, that's a great idea.
I got to be free.
But in terms of getting her and where she was in her life, were you being told not to work with her at the time by pretty much everyone?
The record company, remember at this point, the album's platinum in America, we could get Tina I can get you Streisand, someone said to us. But we wanted her.
I'd like to welcome a very special guest who's come over to be here with us tonight, Dusty Springfield.
So you finally got to work with this idol of yours. How was it?
It was an extraordinary experience. And she came in, and I remember Chris and I being in the office at the front of Advision Studios, and suddenly Dusty walked in. I mean, it was literally Dusty Springfield. She said, what do you want me to sound like? And we said, well, like Dusty Springfield. Oh, yeah, okay, I think I can do that.
Since you went away, I've been hanging around. I've been wondering why. I've been down and went away.
And then she sang it, and it's all of her life.
Yeah.
It feels like goes into that song. She was a complete perfectionist of every syllable. It's that thing where someone takes your song and makes it 10 times better.
Yeah.
It just sounds fantastic.
I'm feeling down, you went away. It took me better.
You can tell she's top of the world here, you know.
You really can.
Proper, like, coronation.
How I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through.
And of course, there was this incredible turnaround in her life after this track came out.
It was great. We thought it would be a hit, and Dusty was very excited about it. And when the record came out, it was a hit. She moved back firstly to Europe, and then to Britain, and we did some more songs with her.
Neil Tennant actually always is able to put a sense of proportion back in my life. Things don't dent me as deeply. I can get disappointed, I can get angry, but I don't seem to be, they're not so profound.
Afterwards, she was really happy.
And that must make you proud.
It does, it really does.
Lost in the high streets.
Look at that.
This is your first ever world tour.
Yes, it is, that's right, yes. This is as theatrical as we ever get.
Did it get to a point, 91, where you just thought, well, we have to tour now?
Yeah, we've got a director and a designer for the English National Opera to visualise every single song. So we achieved with this show this ambition of presenting every song in a ultra-theatrical way.
Let's take a ride and rock with the dawn.
It's a sort of fantastic show. It's hemorrhaging money, by the way.
You can't hide, run with the dogs tonight. It's above the
And in between this, do you go and speak to the audience and go, hey,
No.
you okay, you're doing? There was none of that.
No, we've followed the theatrical convention that we don't, as they say, go through the fourth wall. So you're watching something, and that's your role as the audience is to watch it. Of course, in a lot of places, most places even, they behaved as though they were at a regular rock concert.
Yeah.
So there was a huge tension.
Was anyone else doing this kind of thing then?
No one was doing anything, because as usual with us, we weren't necessarily making it easy to like. There were so many costume changes, wigs, the whole thing. You're always...
You as well, you'd have to go off and then come back on.
Almost every song we have a different outfit.
Look at your dancing there.
Look at that. It's Chris, choreography. Goodness. Choreography.
It's like looking at Ollie Alexander.
We didn't tour properly again until the end of the 90s.
Are you serious? That was the first... That was like the second world tour you were doing?
That was the second world tour, yeah. Again, lost a fortune.
I want to play something now, because, you know, we all know Chris doesn't like to take centre stage, but we found this little...
You're not going to show any paninaro, are you? You better not. We can cut this out, everyone, whoever's editing this later, if this is what this is.
Let's see what it is.
Neighbour. Oh, this is great. No, this is fine. I was the first one to do this.
You were the first celebrity cameo in Neighbours?
In Neighbours.
Become good friends.
Here comes.
Excuse me?
Oh, crikey, where'd you spring from?
Good question. I'm a little lost.
You're English.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking for a recording studio which is round here somewhere.
Who knew there was a recording studio on Ramsey Street?
Did their recordings, I think.
You in a band?
Yeah, the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're destined for big things one of these days. I know where that studio is. Look, if you go down here and turn right and follow the road along, turn left at the lights and go along about 2 kilometres, you can't miss it. It's a great big place.
Right, great. Thanks a lot.
Took a few goes to get that right.
The great thing about it is, it's sort of totally pointless, isn't it? Totally. Totally.
That's lovely. Were you just... Are you a Neighbours fan? Were you in Australia? How did that come about?
Well, we're in Australia, and I just thought it'd be... I don't know why. It's just mad, really, isn't it? I said, God, can I not just go into Neighbours, please?
They immediately said yes.
I didn't get confirmation until the morning of the shoot, and so I assumed it wasn't happening. So I hadn't learnt the lines. I know it's not a lot. It's not like, you know, Hamlet or anything, is it? But what a great experience it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to show that only because it's a nice illustration of you getting to a level where you can do what you want to do, or collaborate with who you want to collaborate with. So did you do a song with, or an album with Ian Wright as well?
Did a song with Ian Wright. That was just fantastic. What a great experience that was.
Exactly.
It's it's the sort of kid in a sweet shop thing. Suddenly you're in a room with Liza Minnelli and Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
Shirley Bassey. Tina Turner once, and we worked with David Bowie in the 90s. You think, I was thinking, well, I'm from Newcastle. And it sort of seems incredible.
Space boy, you're sleeping now.
Oh, my God.
Your silhouette is so stationary. I lost Space boy.
This is great, doing Top of the Pops with David Bowie.
Unbelievable. Pretty full on, isn't it?
No, it is, yeah.
Ground to major, bye-bye time.
They all cheer for me. He gives me a dirty look, though, you know.
Yeah. On stage, Jim.
On stage, David Bowie.
How dare you?
Planet Earth is control on. Do you want to be free?
So obviously this guy's your hero, right? So how did the collaboration come about?
I went with a friend of mine to see David Bowie's tour at Wembley Arena, and I was introduced to him backstage, and I was talking about the album he had out, which is called Outside. I said, there's a song called Hello Space Boy. It should be a single, but it hasn't been. It's a typical me thing to say to an artist, by the way. And he thought the same thing. He said, maybe you guys should remix it for me. And anyway, I was phoned up at home, and someone said, David Bowie's going to call you. And actually some friends were around, just having a coffee or something. I said, when the phone rings, answer it, because it's going to be David Bowie. So it says, oh, hi. And he goes, who's speaking? Who should I say speaking, please? And he goes, David. And anyway, so we did it.
Do you like girls or boys? It's confusing.
There was only one verse on the original track on the album. So we got Space Oddity, cut it up, literally. And so Major Tom comes back in. So Bowie phones up the studio and says, oh, how's it going? And I said, well, you know, we've cut up Space Oddity to make sense. He goes, there's a silence. I thought, oh, God. And he said, yeah, sounds like I better come in. And I thought, oh, we've really screwed up.
Hello, Space Boy. You're sleeping now. This chaos is killing you.
Anyway, David Bowie comes in, so I sing the new verse as a demo for then him to sing it, and he loves it, and he says, yeah, but you've got to sing it. So that it wasn't meant to be a duet. He was meant to sing it. And I was
allow yourself a kind of pinch me moment there.
It was. And then I was explaining Major Toms in one of those Russian spaceships. They can't. This is in the 90s. Those Russian spaceships they can't afford to bring down anymore. And Bowie said, "Oh, is that where he is?" It was just a great moment. We all went into the It was just really
marvellous.
Hello, Space Boy.
That was David Bowie.
But he was fun backstage, you know, and weirdly not pretentious. I always remember him standing backstage at the Brits, eating a ham baguette. You know, you sort of imagine David Bowie's going to have Indonesian sardines or something, and he's having a ham baguette, and you know, obviously quite enjoying it. But he was always wanting to know what you were reading, what films you'd seen, all that kind of stuff.
A curious mind is so important, isn't it?
I don't know where this is. Oh, it's in Moscow?
Yeah. This is you headlining Live 8 in Red Square. Such a historic event. How did it come about?
This was a classic Neil and Chris thing. We were asked by one of the organisers, and I said, you know, we don't really agree with doing charity things. We're not convinced it works for anyone apart from increasing the fame of the artist. And she said, I totally understand, Neil, it's fine. But thanks for listening to me anyway. I said, OK, thanks. And I go and sit down and says, oh, we'd just be nice to do Live 8. And Chris said, oh, that sounds great. I said we wouldn't do it. Chris says, what? I go, oh, sorry. We will do it. Apparently we will do it.
Yes, Chris.
Look at that crowd. Did you know you get a response like that?
We started going to Russia regularly in 1997, and because since I was a kid, I was in Russian history and all the rest of it. There's always been weird Russian Pet Shop Boys songs, and when we got there, we had an audience, and we had an audience even in the Soviet Union. You know, when we were in the 80s, people would buy our records illegally in Russia.
We will start like you. This is what we'll do.
This just, for me, sums up that your music's always been more than just pop. There's always been a backdrop of societal issues, I suppose. And for me, it's just the fact that you're playing Go West in Red Square.
Well, we wouldn't be doing that now, would we?
No.
People forget that it was an optimistic time. I mean, for instance, Paul McCartney played in Red Square, even maybe the same year as this. It seemed like a turning point. We thought that pop music is going to save the world, which, alas, it doesn't do.
There are many ways in the sun or shades. We will find a place.
Now I think it's really tragic, because now I just wonder, will we ever go again?
Right, exactly.
Will we ever go again? And that makes me feel very, very sad.
In the open air. Baby, you and me. This is our destiny.
That's a great clip to have had.
Good evening, Glastonbury. You look fabulous out there. If anyone wants to sing along at any point, that would make us very happy.
Glastonbury.
Yep.
This was a great night.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could.
Playing Glastonbury, it's an incredible atmosphere. It's like you look at all these people in the flags. It's like the night before the Battle of Agincourt or something, because you can smell smoke and flags, and there's so many people there.
Maybe I didn't hold you all those lonely, lonely times. Oh, I guess I never told you. I'm so happy that you're mine.
We are famous for slagging off rock music and guitar music.
Rock music isn't challenging at all. It has nothing fresh to say.
And yet here you are in Glastonbury, the home of that.
Yeah. All the current rock stars are so establishment, you know, I mean, they're challenging absolutely nothing.
I was really worried about how it was going to go down.
At some festivals, more rock, you've worried that you might get canned.
Yeah.
But that was just amazing.
What was your issue with rock?
Well, the issue with rock was really comes out of the disco sucks movement in the late 70s, when disco is just despised by real music, rock. And
so that kind of self-importance.
We were always told in America, disco is a dirty word. But also, weirdly, pop sort of won.
Yeah.
I think if I was 16 years old, starting to do music, I would try and reinvent rock music. Because I think it's up for grabs. Because everything, and I say this as an electronic musician, everything is so electronic.
Next album, Chris.
Now, have I got stagecraft yet? Not that much, but a little bit.
Muse were headlining the.
We're headlining the other stage, and Muse are on the Pyramid.
Yeah, so Muse on the Pyramid.
And we're always pessimistic. Oh, no one's going to come and see us.
And then 50,000 turned up.
Yeah. We were told we had as many people as Muse did.
Did that feel like a bit of a coronation for you?
I wouldn't say coronation. Validation.
I'm so happy that you're mine.
It was one of the best nights of our lives, this.
Thank you.
All right, last clip.
Oh, Ollie. He looks great.
Looks great, doesn't he?
When I look back upon my life, it's always...
This is you performing It's a Sin with Ollie Alexander on New Year's Eve 2022. I think one of the things I love about you guys is how you endure. So many of the songs are as relevant today as they ever have been.
I mean, when we wrote this song, which I think was in 1983, who'd have thought people would think it's suitable to put on the BBC's New Year's Eve show 40 years later?
Yeah.
It's a sin.
I mean, all through the 80s and the early 90s, I had friends who were dying of AIDS. And it was something that had a profound effect at the time. There's an incredible contrast between being a pop star and visiting your friend in St Mary's Hospital, Paddington, dying.
Oh, I bet.
But I feel with this TV drama, It's a Sin, if I can say this, I think the heterosexual community caught up with it.
Yeah.
I think they thought, wow, I never really appreciated what went on here. I've actually found it quite difficult to watch in some ways.
Everything I've ever done, everything I ever do, every place I've ever been, everywhere I'm going to, it's a sin.
It's great to have Ollie Alexander come up, who's obviously, I'm practically old enough to be his grandfather.
I've always been the one to blame.
You know, when generations come together like that, I think it's great.
Yeah, look, I don't want to sound too pompous, but like, there's a chance that Years and Years don't exist if the Pet Shop Boys don't exist.
Yeah, look, there's other things, you know. We always give credit to, like, Soft Cell, for
Yeah.
instance. But we should all give credit to Sylvester.
Yeah.
Amazing record,
Yeah.
all electronic, but it's this sort of continuum that you're all part of.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how music works.
Yeah.
With this, you know, you can sort of see generations coming together, right? I think that's a really nice thing.
And that must make you proud.
It does, yeah.
You must look back at your career and appreciate the legacy that you guys have created.
My father said a very sweet thing. He said, I always thought the best job you could have if you could earn a living out of your hobby.
Yeah.
And it sort of is that, yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I just think fate takes its course.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the whole thing's preordained, really. I don't think I've had any control over any of it.
Are the Pet Shop Boys in any way making a statement on life? Does it go that deep, or are you basically in it for the fun?
I think there's quite a lot of statements about life, but the intention was to make records, you know, that you like dancing to, that you thought were great.
It's a sin. It's a sin. Everything I've ever done, everything I ever do, every place I've ever been, everywhere I'm going to, it's a sin. It's a sin. Zero.
Well, are you actually going to show it?
Yeah, this will go out on that there telly.
I might watch it.